Have you ever found yourself wide awake at 2:37 in the morning, staring at the ceiling, wondering why your body pulled you out of sleep? It's not pain, not noise, not even a bad dream, just awake. And when you glance at the clock, it's always the same window, somewhere between 2 and 4 a.m. For many older adults, this quiet interruption becomes a nightly pattern. Some blame it on age, others think it's just stress. But what if these early morning wake-ups were actually your body whispering something important? Margaret, 72, told me this. I thought it was just age catching up with me. But then I started noticing. Every time I woke up like that, my thoughts were racing. My heart wasn't calm. It felt like something deeper was going on. She's right, because science and experience now tell us waking between 2 and 4 a.m. often reflects hidden imbalances, emotional shifts, or even signals from your organs trying to restore themselves. So today, let's explore it gently. Let's talk about what your body might really be saying when it wakes you up while the world is still asleep. 1. Cortisol. When your body's internal clock sounds the alarm. Waking up in the middle of the night isn't always random. Sometimes it's your internal clock, your circadian rhythm, trying to say, something's off. Let me introduce you to Frank, a 68-year-old retired engineer from Colorado. Frank prided himself on structure. He went to bed at 9:30 p.m. every night, avoided caffeine after lunch, even practiced deep breathing before bed. But still, he'd jolt awake around 3:10 a.m. almost every morning. He said, "It felt like a switch flipped in my chest. I was fully alert, and it made no sense." After speaking with a sleep specialist, Frank learned something eye-opening. His body was releasing cortisol, the stress hormone, much earlier than it should. Here's the gentle science. Cortisol isn't the enemy. It's what helps us wake up and feel alert in the morning. But in older adults, especially those facing emotional stress, blood sugar drops, or inflammation, cortisol can spike too early, between 2 and 4 a.m., pulling you out of sleep. This is common after age 60, when cortisol regulation becomes more sensitive. So what can help? Frank started a simple evening routine, a light protein-rich snack around 8 p.m., like almond butter on toast or Greek yogurt. No late news or heavy emotional conversations after 7 p.m. And most importantly, he added 10 minutes of gentle stretching and gratitude journaling before bed. Within 2 weeks, his 3 a.m. wake-ups faded. So if you're waking during these hours, ask yourself, could my body be stuck in stress mode, even while I sleep? Comment yes if this sounds like something you've experienced. And let's keep going, because the next reason is something hardly anyone over 60 talks about, but it affects your liver and your dreams. 2. Liver overload. Why your body might wake you to process toxins. Sometimes the reason you wake up at 2 or 3 a.m. isn't about stress, it's about detox. Your body has a quiet cleaning crew. And guess what? They clock in during the early morning hours, especially your liver. Let me tell you about Margaret, 72, who lives in Oregon. Every night she sipped chamomile tea, read her cozy mystery novel, and climbed into bed by 10 p.m. But then, like clockwork, she'd wake up around 2:20 a.m., restless, a bit warm, even slightly nauseous. At first, she thought it was just light sleep or maybe just getting older. But her doctor gently asked, "What are you having in the evenings?" Turns out Margaret had a nightly ritual, a small glass of red wine, a square of dark chocolate, and sometimes a Tylenol for her arthritis. Individually, none of those are terrible, but combined, they put extra pressure on the liver, which does its deep detoxing work between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. According to traditional Chinese medicine and supported by modern research, the liver reaches peak activity during these hours. If it's overloaded with alcohol, medications, sugar, or processed fats, your body may wake you up in response. It's like your system saying, "I'm too busy to sleep. I've got work to do." So what helped Margaret? She swapped her wine for warm lemon water after dinner, moved her arthritis medication to the morning with doctor approval, and added a handful of steamed greens with her evening meal, especially dandelion or spinach, which support liver function. Within a week, her 2 a.m. wake-ups were less intense. By week 3, she was sleeping through the night. So ask yourself, are you unknowingly making your liver work overtime while you sleep? Hit like if this feels like something you've noticed, because the next cause, it's not about your body, it's about your mind, and a silent thought loop that keeps many seniors wide awake in the dark. 3. Unspoken worries. When your mind keeps talking after you sleep. Some people fall asleep quickly, but between 2 and 4 a.m., the mind turns back on, like a radio left playing softly in the background. This is more common than you might think, not because something bad is happening, but because the mind finally has quiet space, and that's when it starts whispering the thoughts you didn't get to process during the day. Meet George, 74, a widower and grandfather of 5. He's calm, kind, the kind of man who always says, "I'm fine." But for months he'd wake up at 3 a.m., not sweating, not panicked, just mentally awake, thinking about bills, his daughter's divorce, and whether he locked the front door. His doctor ruled out sleep apnea and other health issues. But during a gentle talk with a therapist, George had a quiet realization. I never let myself feel anything during the day. I keep busy. But at night, when it's quiet, all the worries line up. This has a name: nocturnal rumination. It's when unprocessed thoughts loop during your lightest sleep stages, often between 2 and 4 a.m. when the brain shifts into more active dream states. So how did George break the cycle? He created a bedtime mental unloading ritual. At 8 p.m., he'd write down 3 things on his mind, not to solve them, just to name them. He added a short body scan meditation to calm racing thoughts. Free apps like Insight Timer helped. And once a week, he joined a local men's circle to talk openly about life. These small steps gave his brain permission to rest, not just his body. If you find yourself lying awake thinking about the past or rehearsing conversations that haven't happened yet, you're not alone. Comment "still thinking" if this sounds like your night sometimes. And the next cause? It's one many people overlook because they think they're too tired to be dehydrated. 4. Silent dehydration. Why even mild fluid loss can wake you up. Here's something most people over 60 don't realize. You can be dehydrated while lying still in bed. Yes, even if you didn't sweat, even if the room is cool, even if you drank water at dinner. Because as we age, our sense of thirst declines and our kidneys become more sensitive to fluid balance shifts. Let me share the story of Rosa, a 70-year-old former nurse who thought she knew everything about hydration. She said, "I drank 2 glasses of water at dinner, and I always avoided tea after 6 p.m. so I wouldn't need to get up at night." But still, she kept waking up around 3 a.m., dry mouth, slightly cramping calves, and a racing heart. Her doctor reviewed her medications, ruled out diabetes, and then gently suggested this: try sipping warm water, just half a cup, about 30 minutes before bed. Rosa was skeptical, worried about nighttime bathroom trips, but she gave it a try. Within days, she noticed. Her muscles relaxed more deeply during sleep. She stopped waking up feeling parched, and her mind felt calmer, likely due to improved blood flow and hydration in the brain. Here's the soft science. During sleep, your body repairs tissue, balances hormones, and filters waste, all processes that require fluid. Even mild dehydration can signal the brain to interrupt sleep to protect organs, especially the heart and kidneys. The fix isn't chugging water before bed. It's steady hydration throughout the day and a gentle pre-bed sip to signal safety. Try this. Drink water within 30 minutes of waking up, sip a few ounces every hour from morning to evening, and add a half cup of warm water with a pinch of sea salt or a slice of cucumber about 30 to 45 minutes before sleep. Hit like if you'll try the warm water ritual tonight. Because the next reason for 2 to 4 a.m. wake-ups, it's not internal, it's environmental, and it might be hiding in your bedroom right now. 5. Hidden light and noise. When your bedroom stops supporting deep sleep. Sometimes, it's not what's inside your body that wakes you up. It's what's happening around you, without you even noticing. Let me tell you about Eleanor, 69, a retired librarian from Michigan. She was proud of her peaceful bedtime ritual. No screens after 8 p.m., blackout curtains, and a calming audiobook to lull her to sleep. But still, like clockwork, she'd wake up between 2 and 3 a.m., alert, confused, sometimes with a headache. Her doctor suggested a sleep study, but Eleanor wanted to try something simpler first, a sleep environment audit. She discovered a few surprising things. Her neighbor's motion sensor light flickered into her room through a gap in the curtain. Her husband's CPAP machine made subtle humming sounds all night. And her digital alarm clock emitted a low blue glow, barely visible during the day, but bright enough to activate her brain at night. Here's what the science says. After age 60, our melatonin production decreases, making us more sensitive to light, sound, and temperature changes during the night. Even small environmental triggers can nudge the brain out of deep sleep and into a light, alert state, especially between 2 and 4 a.m. when REM cycles are most active. What helped Eleanor? She made 3 small but powerful changes, switched to true blackout curtains with magnetic edges, replaced her digital clock with a non-glowing analog version, and added a white noise machine to buffer subtle sounds. Within a week, her wake-ups were shorter. Within 3 weeks, she reported her first full night of sleep in months. So if you're waking at 3 a.m. and don't feel stressed or thirsty, take a look around your room. Light and noise may be speaking to your brain, even if your eyes are closed. Comment "dark and quiet" if you've ever wondered about your sleep environment. And the next point? It's a little emotional, a little spiritual, and it's something many older adults have quietly shared but rarely talked about aloud. 6. Soul wake-ups, when the quiet hours call you to reflect or heal. Not every 2 a.m. awakening is a problem. Sometimes it's an invitation. Let me tell you about Thomas, 76, a retired pastor who lost his wife Marion 5 years ago. For decades, they went to bed together at 10 p.m. sharp. Since her passing, Thomas still keeps the routine. But almost every night around 3 a.m., he wakes up, not anxious, not in pain, just awake. He says, "It's like the night whispers to me. I think of her. I think of my life. I don't feel scared, just present." Thomas used to fight it, trying breathing exercises, teas, supplements, until one night he simply accepted it. He made tea, sat by the window, he lit a candle, opened his journal, and started writing letters to Marion. Things he never said, things he remembered, things he still hoped for. And something shifted. Instead of feeling broken, Thomas began to feel connected. to her, to himself, to something deeper. There's a name for this kind of wakefulness: spiritual alertness. In many cultures, the hours between 2 and 4 a.m. are seen as a time when the world is quiet enough for the soul to speak. Some psychologists even call this the hour of meaning, when the subconscious opens space for reflection, grief, and clarity. If this resonates with you, try this. Keep a small journal and pen by your bedside, light a candle, or play soft instrumental music if you wake up. And instead of resisting, ask gently, is there something I need to hear or feel right now? This isn't about religion. It's about the quiet courage it takes to listen, to memories, to questions, to love that hasn't faded. If you've ever felt that quiet call at night, comment yes, just that. Because in the next and final reason, we'll look at how one common nighttime habit could be silently setting you up for early morning wake-ups, and how a simple shift can give you back hours of rest. So if you've been waking up between 2 and 4 a.m., it's not just a sleep problem. It might be a quiet invitation from your body, your mind, or even your heart to pay attention. Maybe your liver is working overtime. Maybe stress is tiptoeing into your dreams. Or maybe your soul is asking for just a moment of your time in the stillness the day doesn't allow. Here's the truth many doctors forget to say. You're not broken. You're not too old to sleep well. You're simply being asked to listen more gently to what's happening inside and around you. Sleep after 60 becomes more than just rest. It becomes a relationship with your rhythms, your emotions, and your wisdom. So try that warm water. Try writing down your worries before bed. Try turning off the news and turning toward yourself. And if you still wake up, light a candle, take a breath, and know that you're not alone in the quiet. If this spoke to you in some way, if you felt even a small "yes, that's me," consider subscribing. It helps us keep making Confo videos for wise hearts like yours. You're aging with grace, you're learning, adjusting, evolving, and that's not just good, that's exceptional. Sleep well, friend. We'll be here when you wake.